Emily and Melody's endeavor to save the oceans was beset with a great deal of resistance and challenges. Nonetheless, they were able to overcome these obstacles and accomplish incredible victories thanks to their persistent resolve and persistence. As Emily and Melody's campaign gained traction, businesses that benefited from actions detrimental to the oceans put up a fight. For example, big fishing companies opposed the adoption of sustainable fishing methods because they saw them as a threat to their livelihoods. Emily and Melody's goal was made even more difficult by the resistance they encountered from stakeholders and lobbyists who wished to preserve the status quo. They also encountered doubt from some community members who were averse to change or questioned the seriousness of the problems at hand. It was challenging to persuade people to change their behaviors and embrace more environmentally friendly activities. Perseverance and innovation were needed to overcome indifference and generate a feeling of urgency. When Emily and Melody tried to adjust policy, they ran into administrative roadblocks as well. It took a lot of time and frustration to go through bureaucratic red tape and complicated governmental procedures. They did not, however, waver in their conviction that long-term, systemic remedies required policy reforms. Despite these difficulties, Emily and Melody celebrated their victories. Their unceasing efforts paid off as they achieved minor but important successes that gave them the will to carry out their objective. Through their effective lobbying, stronger laws on fishing techniques were put into place, protecting fragile species and creating marine protected zones. Additionally, Emily and Melody were able to inspire an increasing number of people who were enthusiastic about ocean conservation through their lobbying and grassroots projects. Their emphasis on communal and group efforts developed into a potent force that encouraged people to support their cause and aid in the preservation of the oceans. Additionally, their campaign attracted attention from throughout the globe, reaching people much beyond their local area. Speaking at international conferences and gatherings, Emily and Melody shared their stories and pleaded with decision-makers and interested parties to give ocean protection first priority. Their stirring speeches struck a chord with listeners all throughout the world, sparking a global reform movement. The difficulties Emily and Melody encountered made them more determined. They understood that perseverance, creativity, and teamwork were necessary for real transformation. They continuously modified their tactics, coming up with fresh approaches to interact with the opposition and form coalitions with groups and individuals that shared their values. It demonstrated Emily and Melody's unwavering attitude as they faced and conquered the challenges they faced. Their steadfast dedication and their capacity to work with people who were initially against them helped them to accomplish groundbreaking victories in their quest to save the oceans. Their experience served as a tribute to the strength of tenacity, harmony, and the conviction that individual deeds can result in group transformation. The tale of Emily and Melody inspired others by showing that, in spite of obstacles, it is possible to have a long-lasting effect on the globe and build a future in which the oceans are healthy and abundant. Explores the difficulties and victories that Emily and Melody encountered in pursuing their goal of ocean conservation. They faced doubters, red tape, and disappointments along the way, which put their will and perseverance to the test. Nevertheless, they overcame hardship in the end because to their steadfast dedication and fortitude. Skepticism from different people and organizations was one of the main problems Emily and Melody faced. Some questioned the efficacy of their suggested remedies or the seriousness of the problems confronting the oceans. It took a careful balancing act to overcome this distrust, involving education, patience, and excellent communication. Emily and Melody put in a lot of effort into sharing moving tales, holding candid discussions, and offering scientific proof to support their cause. The presence of bureaucratic obstacles posed a noteworthy obstacle. It took a lot of effort and frustration to navigate the many governmental systems and laws. Bureaucratic systems posed a challenge to Emily and Melody since they were sluggish to react or reluctant to reform. They had to put in a lot of work networking with influential people, pushing for changes to the laws and coming up with creative ways to function within the confines of the current structures. There would inevitably be setbacks in the face of these obstacles. Emily and Melody tried their hardest, but they ran into obstacles and were discouraged at times. They encountered resistance to several of their plans, and at times it appeared like progress was sluggish or even stopped. These failures put their determination to the test and forced them to reconsider their tactics, looking for fresh ideas and substitutes. But Emily and Melody were able to overcome these obstacles because they were able to keep going and learn from their mistakes. They would not be dissuaded by doubt or administrative roadblocks. Rather, they saw failures as chances for development and creativity. Emily and Melody looked for groups and individuals that shared their values for support, to increase their influence and work together to address shared issues. They forged partnerships and alliances. Together with scientists, environmental organizations, and other interested parties, they put up a unified front against the obstacles they had to overcome. Their tenacity eventually paid off, and they started to experience victories along the way. They were able to persuade doubters and alter their opinions by persevering. Their dedication to communication and education paid off as they successfully persuaded a larger audience of the criticality of ocean protection. Emily and Melody also made significant progress in their advocacy for policies. They effectively overcame administrative roadblocks, rallied popular support, and swayed policymakers to implement significant reforms. Because of their persistent commitment to the cause and their skill at interacting with decision makers, laws and programs that supported sustainable practices and preserved marine environments were put into place. Every victory, no matter how minor, served as a springboard for more significant ones. Because of Emily and Melody's tenacity and willpower, more people joined their cause, growing the movement and bringing about a chain reaction of favorable change. It illustrated the difficulties Emily and Melody encountered while pursuing ocean protection. They faced doubters, bureaucratic roadblocks, and disappointments, but they never wavered in their goal. They overcame hardship in the end and achieved great progress in preserving the oceans for coming generations thanks to their tenacity, willingness to work together, and flexibility. Their narrative became a monument to the strength of will and the influence that can be attained by steadfast dedication to a cause. There were many obstacles Emily and Melody had to overcome in their quest to save the oceans. However, they were able to overcome these challenges and pick up little but important triumphs along the way because to their persistent commitment and the community's support. The intricacy of the problems Emily and Melody were trying to solve was one of their biggest obstacles. Ocean conservation was a massive undertaking that involved many interrelated issues, including pollution, overfishing, and climate change. It took in-depth research, professional collaboration, and ongoing learning to comprehend and address these complex concerns. Even though the task was intimidating, Emily and Melody were committed to changing things. The little resources they had at their disposal presented another difficulty. They were deeply concerned about the oceans and were passionate people who mostly relied on their community's support as well as their own efforts. Access to the required technologies and funding was frequently limited. They did not, however, allow these restrictions to stop them. Rather, they used their imagination, ingenuity, and the strength of the community to come up with novel solutions. Emily and Melody understood how crucial it was to create a solid network and involve their neighborhood in their endeavors. They actively sought assistance from volunteers who shared their enthusiasm for ocean conservation, local organizations, and like-minded people. They established a committed community that supported them along the way by encouraging a sense of belonging and group responsibility. Their community support was crucial in helping them overcome obstacles. They coordinated fundraising events, neighborhood cleanup projects, and instructional seminars by working together. In addition to producing much-needed resources, these group efforts increased awareness and encouraged others to support their cause. Their growth was propelled by the strength of the support they received from the community. Even though they were up against many obstacles, Emily and Melody were happy with their little successes. Even though these victories were small, they were important advancements in their mission. They were successful in getting their local community to outlaw single-use plastics, which decreased the amount of plastic debris that ended up in the oceans. Additionally, they were successful in forming alliances with other companies that shared their commitment to ethical garbage disposal and sustainable fishing methods. These tiny triumphs not only produced good effects right away, but also acted as triggers for more significant changes. They created momentum and gave others hope by proving that advancement was still achievable in the face of insurmountable obstacles. The victories also enabled Emily and Melody to establish their credibility and improve their tactics, which led to new prospects and partnerships. It demonstrated Emily and Melody's tenacity and fortitude in facing obstacles head-on. They surmounted resource constraints and tackled complicated issues with community assistance. Their modest successes gave their mission new life and opened the door for more significant transformation. Their narrative acted as a tribute to the strength of group effort and the influence that can be attained with tenacity and community support. Through their trip, Emily and Melody encouraged people to see their own potential for change and reaffirmed the idea that, working together, even modest successes may result in meaningful and long-lasting improvements for the seas. As the long-term effects of Emily and Melody's attempts to save the oceans become clear, their story draws to a close. In addition to changing their neighborhood, their unrelenting devotion and ceaseless drive have sparked a global movement for ocean protection. Because of Emily and Melody's efforts, their community will always remember them. They encouraged community members to take responsibility for the environment and to practice environmental stewardship through their collaborative projects, educational initiatives, and activism. As a result of their work, people are now more aware of the significance of ocean conservation and the demand for sustainable practices. Individuals in their neighborhood started taking up eco-friendly practices, like cutting back on plastic consumption, encouraging nearby sustainable fisheries, and helping to clean up the beaches. Emily and Melody's efforts had an effect outside of their neighborhood. Their narrative became well-known worldwide, drawing interest from people, groups, and decision-makers everywhere. They received invitations to speak at international conferences and gatherings, where they imparted their wisdom and experiences and motivated people to get involved in their local communities. Their accomplishments have had an impact on national and regional policy developments. Stricter laws and the establishment of marine protected areas were brought about by their successful local campaigns and vigorous lobbying efforts. The voices of Emily and Melody were potent change agents, influencing laws that defended biodiversity, safeguarded marine habitats, and encouraged sustainable lifestyles. Furthermore, the following generation of ocean conservationists carries on Emily and Melody's legacy. Young people were motivated by their efforts to seek careers in environmental activism and ocean conservation. They developed into mentors and role models, inspiring a new generation of fervent supporters dedicated to protecting and rehabilitating our marine environments. The scientific community was also impacted by them in the long run. Emily and Melody made significant contributions to important scientific investigations and discoveries aimed at comprehending and reducing the effects of human activity on the oceans through their partnerships with academics and experts. Through their efforts, the public's consciousness and scientific knowledge were brought closer together, resulting in a more knowledgeable and compassionate society. Emily and Melody founded an ocean conservation charity organization to guarantee the continuation of their work. This group continues to meaningfully engage the community, funded research and education activities, and offered a platform for ongoing initiatives. Their nonprofit organization guaranteed that their legacy would endure beyond their individual endeavors and acted as a tribute to their dedication. It honors the enduring influence Emily and Melody's labor has had on both their neighborhood and the larger globe. Their actions not only improved the surroundings in their immediate area, but also sparked an international campaign to protect the oceans. They left a legacy of education, activism, and community involvement that continues to influence attitudes, laws, and practices pertaining to ocean conservation. The tale of Emily and Melody serves as a reminder that one person's actions, motivated by passion and tenacity, can have a lasting impact on the world and spur constructive change for future generations. Emily and Melody's amazing ocean conservation initiative has a global influence in addition to their local community. Their ceaseless efforts to save the oceans have a significant impact on global awareness building and legislative improvements. As word of Emily and Melody's campaign travels, people, groups, and governments all around the world start to take inspiration from their narrative. Their unwavering dedication and enthusiasm in addressing the critical problems plaguing the seas enthrall audiences and spark a global movement for change. Their persuasive storytelling and advocacy efforts raise awareness of the terrible condition of the oceans and the pressing need for action. Their message transcends regional boundaries and finds resonance with individuals from a wide range of backgrounds and cultures. Through speaking engagements at international conferences, traditional media channels, and social media, Emily and Melody's campaign builds traction and attracts attention from people who might not have previously given the impact of their activities on the seas any thought. A wave of popular support for ocean conservation initiatives is sparked by the campaign of Emily and Melody, which is raising awareness throughout the world. Individuals from many backgrounds are inspired to effect change, be it through cutting back on plastic usage, endorsing sustainable fishing practices, or pushing for more stringent environmental laws. As a result of this wave of support, people inspire their friends, families, and communities to get involved as well. Emily and Melody's campaign has had an impact on changes to regional and national policies. governments and international organizations pay attention to the scientific data that Emily and Melody give, as well as the wave of public support. Prominent policymakers and decision-makers acknowledge the gravity of the problem and start putting ocean protection measures into action. In an effort to curb overfishing, lessen plastic waste, and lessen the impact of climate change on marine ecosystems, new rules have been adopted. To conserve species and ecosystems that are at risk, new and extended marine protected zones are created. The policies are a reflection of the growing international agreement that sustainable practices and the preservation of marine biodiversity are essential. The initiative started by Emily and Melody also encourages cooperation between governmental bodies, nonprofits, and academic institutions. Acknowledging the interdependence of the issues facing the ocean, interested parties collaborate to exchange expertise, materials, and optimal methodologies. In order to tackle complicated problems like ocean acidification, habitat destruction, and the preservation of marine biodiversity, collaborative research programs and initiatives are started. The world in which ocean conservation is given high importance is the campaign's enduring legacy, thanks to Emily and Melody. Their efforts result in a fundamental transformation in society attitudes and habits in addition to improvements in policy. A more sustainable relationship between humans and the oceans is the result of the collaborative action spurred on by their campaign. Emily and Melody receive invitations to join worldwide task forces, advisory boards, and panels devoted to ocean conservation as a result of their outstanding accomplishments. To further the cause, they keep pushing for sustainable methods, sharing their knowledge, and working with world leaders. It honors the influence Emily and Melody's campaign for ocean protection has had on the world. They impact policy changes, create awareness, and spark a global movement with their unwavering efforts. A world where the oceans are valued, safeguarded, and conserved for upcoming generations is their legacy. Their experience serves as a potent reminder that willpower and group effort can effect profound change on a worldwide basis. As they increase public awareness of the significance of sustainable fishing practices, their campaign gains traction. Through their media outreach, public speaking engagements, and educational programs, Emily and Melody raise awareness of the negative effects of overfishing and the importance of preserving fish populations and their environments. Their strong arguments and evidence-based lobbying are well received by legislators, resulting in a modification of fishing laws. In order to stop overfishing and promote the recovery of fish populations, stricter quotas are implemented. Important maritime habitats and spawning grounds are protected by laws and regulations. Emily and Melody make sure that these rules are applied in a way that promotes sustainable livelihoods while maintaining the health of marine ecosystems by collaborating closely with fishing communities. Emily and Melody's effort aims to reduce ocean pollution in addition to overfishing. They organize their neighborhood and take part in cleanup campaigns, clearing loads of trash from coastal areas and beaches. Their initiatives draw attention to the terrible effects that plastic pollution has on ecosystems and marine life. With the help of their community, Emily and Melody are able to advocate for more stringent laws pertaining to single-use plastics and promote the usage of sustainable substitutes. Important legislative changes are the result of their lobbying activities and the increased public awareness they raise. Local, regional, and national governments impose bans or limitations on single-use plastics in an effort to cut down on the quantity of plastic garbage that ends up in the oceans. Additionally, Emily and Melody work with companies, non-governmental organizations, and governmental agencies to advance recycling initiatives, put into practice efficient waste management plans, and encourage creative solutions to lessen the pollution caused by plastics. They encourage people to adopt sustainable lifestyle choices, such bringing reusable bottles and bags along and taking part in neighborhood-based recycling programs. Their campaign has led to a noticeable decrease in ocean pollution. The general health of marine ecosystems is improving, beaches are cleaner, and marine animals are less likely to become entangled in or consume plastic waste. A world free from excessive pollution in the oceans, with fish populations flourishing and fishing practices that are sustainable, is the enduring legacy of Emily and Melody's efforts. Tighter laws and rules guarantee the long-term robustness and health of marine ecosystems, and community involvement and continuous public awareness campaigns keep the wheels turning in the direction of progress. It honors the observable results of Emily and Melody's work, which include tighter fishing rules and a notable decline in ocean pollution. Their steadfast commitment, cooperative spirit, and capacity for motivating change have produced a lasting legacy that protects the oceans for coming generations. Their experience is proof of the effectiveness of community involvement and activism in bringing about revolutionary changes in environmental protection.